Hey, what's up? This is your girl Diamond Stylz. How are you? So we're gonna do some learning today, okay? Some learning. Like back in the day, like Sesame Street. Sunny days, chasing the clouds away. On my way to where the air is sweet. Let me show you how to get to Sesame Street. How to get to Sesame Street. Whoa. We're gonna learn about the variety of sex. We're not talking about sex like R. Kelly, bump and grind, knocking the boots. That kind of sex. We're not talking about that sex. We're talking about sex as in male and female and all of the gray areas in between. And yes, there are gray areas in between. So we're gonna, you ready? Yeah, we're gonna start today. Okay, you ready? Boom, here we go. So yeah, I'm gonna be drawing some stuff and I'm not really great, so don't judge me, bitch, okay? I got you. Yeah, how about that? We're gonna talk about a dude. So we're gonna draw his head. Give him a neck, give him some broad shoulders, and then, you know, make his chest love, give him some abs, yes, I love abs, that, give him some thighs, like that. His legs a little retarded, but y'all not gonna judge his legs like that, okay? We ain't gonna judge him, we gonna give him some feet. And give him some feet. His toes ain't gotta be pretty, okay? His toes ain't gotta be pretty. So, and because I'm not good at arms, so we gonna do like that. Alright? And we're gonna give him a box and a fade. Kid and play. How about that? So when you have a regular dude, okay, regular dudes have PPs, normal PPs. We're gonna have it a little bit longer. Yeah, how about that? They have PPs, alright? When he hooks up with a chick, okay, and they procreate and make a baby, he can give a X or a Y. Now, this is, okay, we're going to write in another color because y'all can't see that. A X or a Y. A X or a Y. The dudes, when they hook up, they give you X or a Y. Okay? So now we're going to go to the chicks. Head and her neck. Gosh, she got a long neck. And we don't give her no broad ass shoulders. We're going to give her some nice little C-cup boobs. Little belly button. You see that? Isn't that cute? And then we're going to give her a little pear shape. We're not judging today. And her legs is kind of hairy looking, but y'all be okay. And then put her feet in. Alright. So, Miss Thing has a cooch. And give her some long, natural hair. There we go. And some sexy lips. Alrighty. Wait, she ain't got no nipples. There we go. So her, when she hooks up with that dude that I just showed y'all, she can't give nothing but X. Because all she got is X. That's all she got. Now, the irony of this is that back in the day, like during the kings, the queens, and the monarchy and the European history, they thought it was the women who actually created boys or girls. But it's actually not the women. It was actually the males. So, she can only give X because she is a female. When they hook up and have sex, that's the normal thing. She has two X's. He has an X and a Y. He can give an X or he can give a Y. The X and the Y are really, really, really important because the presence of a Y chromosome is what determines maleness. The lack of presence of the Y chromosome is what determines femaleness. So let me repeat that. The presence of the Y chromosome, no matter how small, minute, abnormal the Y chromosome is, the presence, just the mere presence of the Y chromosome is what determines maleness. Lack thereof the Y is what determines femaleness. If it's just the X, no Y, femaleness. Now this all should be really basic, but you know, sometimes people, some common sense is not all that common. When they procreate, they either make, boom, you have the little baby girl and the little baby boy. When the dude gives the female X during sex, during copulation or conception, he gives a X and then the mama gives an X. Alright? So when, oh wait, hold on, that looks retarded. X and X. That makes a little girl. When he gives a Y and the mama gives an X, because remember, the mama can only give an X, and he gives a Y, it makes a little boy. Now, this is a normal little girl with 2 X chromosomes, just a normal, regular, typical little girl. This is a normal, regular, typical little boy. That is what you see basically every single day. Normal girl, normal boy. But we already know about all of that. Gotcha? We already know about the normals. We're here to learn, right? So we're going to learn about the abnormals today. Okay, this is the female end of the spectrum and this is male. Now, we're going to put XY here. This is the far end normal side of this here sex spectrum. Okay? XY. And then you're going to put the XX here for the female side. Think about a bed of tulips. This is the best analogy that I think is really great. If you look at a bed of tulips and they're all red tulips, even though they're all red tulips, they all have variations of red. They're not the exact same color of red. Some is a little bit darker. Some is slightly a little bit redder, lighter. Some of them are slightly a little bit oranger. There's different colors within that red tulip bed. Even though they're all the same flower, it's different variations of that flower in color, in range, and where it actually falls in when it comes to the norm. This one may be a little bit darker, this one may be a little bit lighter. And not just on a color level, but on a structural level, okay? The petals may be a little bit different. How the stem leans, how it bends, how the leaves bends. Are the leaves straight? Are the petals curved a little bit too much? Are the petals curved straight, or they're curved, or they're not? There's something about those flowers that's a little bit different. They could come from the same exact place and be the same exact flower, but it's a little bit different in all flowers within that bed of red tulips. And the same thing goes with human beings. Yes, XX is the normal female chromosome sequence. XY is the normal male chromosome sequence. But there are people who fall in various places within this spectrum, within this line. They are variations of the human being when it comes to sex, the variety of sex, okay? So let's talk about some of those variations that are known, scientifically known. Alrighty, so we're going to look at the sex chromosome abnormality chart. On the left, we have the female genotype and the syndrome that is a result of that genotype. And then on the right, we have the male genotype and the syndrome that is a result of that genotype.
Now, this chart has just a few of the many sex chromosome abnormalities that can occur in nature. I will be discussing these and a few more, but I really encourage you to go on your own and do your own research.
The first point on the chart is the X and just one X. No Y or no X from the daddy. Just an X. What produces this type of female? The reason why this is a female is because there is no Y present in this equation. She got an X from her mother and didn't get a damn thing from her daddy with his deadbeat self. Didn't give her the right amount of chromosomes, but it's not his fault. He didn't know. Anyway, so this is what makes this person a female. The type of female that this is a female that is suffering from a syndrome that we call Turner syndrome. There are certain things that are really, sometimes you can't even tell if a person has Turner syndrome, or there are certain characteristics that kind of go along with that are symptoms of having Turner syndrome. Some of those characteristics are:
they are usually short in stature, they have a webbed neck, and high arched palate, which is the roof of the mouth.
It's 1 in every 2,000 or 1 in every 5,000. That's the range that the statistics have shown. 1 in every 2,000 or 1 in every 5,000 female infants are born with Turner syndrome. So let's go on to the next one. XXX. Woo! No, not that kind of XXX. We're talking about chromosomes today, not that gross stuff. We're talking about chromosomes. So XXX. Now there's other variations of this type of female. Now remember, I said the lack of the Y makes it a female. So there's no Y in this chromosomal sequence. So the lack of the Y is what makes this a female, and the presence of the Y, no matter how small, is what makes it a male. Now we're not talking about man and woman. We're not talking about those genders. We're talking about sex. The sex, the human biological sex of this entity is female because there is no Y present. So XXX. Alrighty? So this is a female that has an extra X chromosome. Now there's other sequences that can happen that involve this too. It can be XXXXX with 4 X's or 5 X's. It can be 4 or 5. You can keep going. But that's really rare as well. Now, these particular type of females may grow a little bit taller than your average female. They may be emotionally immature for their size, because remember, they're bigger. So when you see them, you assume that they're a little more mature because they're bigger. But they're still the same immature little kids that you see growing up. When it comes to their sexual development, their sex characteristics are normal. They develop, they are fertile, they develop breasts, they develop hips, they're, you know, pretty, when you look at them, they're pretty normal. But they may have some abnormalities in their ovaries, causing their ovaries to fail sometimes at a younger age. Now, the frequency of this XXX syndrome happening is 1 in every 1,000 females, give or take, and it usually occurs more when the mother who's having the baby is a little bit older. So let's go to the next one. To XXY. Now remember what I said. The lack of the Y makes it female, but the presence of the Y makes it male. So XXXY is Klinefelter syndrome. And when the daddy shot his load into the mama, that he gave all this going on. An extra X chromosome from the pappy. It's other variations of this. It could be 2 extra X's, not just this one. It could be 2 extra ones, or it could be 3 extra ones. It's so many different patterns that can happen within this sex chromosome, because it could be 5. Like you could have XXXY, X. It could be so many different, but remember, if it's a Y, it is a male. Okay?
Here is some pictures of some of the symptoms of Klinefelter syndromes. Breast development, wide set hips, and no receding hairline, poor beard growth, narrow shoulders, long arms and legs, and small testes.
In very, very severe cases, these males have high-pitched voices. When their secondary sex characteristics starts to happen during puberty, they will actually go through female secondary sex characteristics like growing breasts. Their body hair won't grow. They'll have very little testes and a very little prostate. They won't produce a lot of sperm. As a result to very little testes and very little prostate, they won't create a lot of testosterone. So they're not going to be very aggressive. They're going to kind of be overweight as well. They're going to be kind of fat. They might grow breasts. They might not. They're going to be a little pudgy. All that kind of stuff. Like the XXX syndrome that we talked about, the female XXX syndrome, when they got the extra X. Like them, they're a little bit taller than average height. Now, usually in severe cases, they have learning disabilities. The areas that they usually have disability in are things that have to deal with your short-term memory or things that have to deal with language and communication. Those characteristics are in severe cases. Severe cases. Most of the time, men who have Klinefelter syndrome don't even know that they have it, and the symptoms are really, really, really small and you won't even notice them. They really are able, on most of the time, to live average lives like regular males. They're able to have normal sexual function, erections, and any kind of sexual relations. It's just usually they have a really, really low sperm count. They don't produce enough sperm to procreate. Now, the more extreme cases, the ones that have XX, XXY, or XX, more than this one extra X, like another X, they're usually like extremely retarded and mentally disabled. So you're gonna definitely tell that they're Klinefelter. There is no evidence that Klinefelter syndrome males are more inclined to be homosexual. It actually is more likely that they would be uninterested in sex, more than likely, because they don't have a lot of testosterone in their body to make them even kind of horny. You feel what I'm saying? So it's more likely that they would be kind of asexual than homosexual. Not that that doesn't play a part in that. Could be not. There's no evidence. What's amazing about this particular syndrome is its frequency. It is believed that, through statistics, that 1 in every 500 or 1 in every 1,000 is Klinefelter syndrome. Now remember, I told you most of the time they won't even notice that they are Klinefelter syndrome. They won't even know. Alrighty, so the next one we're going to talk about is XYY. So these males have 2 Ys, so you can only imagine what 2 Ys would do. Jeez. Usually these males produce a much, much higher level of testosterone. They are usually tall, over 6 foot. They're usually slender with severe acne. Usually, not all the time. Most of the time, like with Klinefelter syndrome, you won't even know that these are XYY syndrome males. You wouldn't know because most of the things are pretty normal. The studies on XYY males are really low. Most of the time, they don't even know that they're XYY. Due to this high level of testosterone, these men could be more prone to antisocial behavior, aggressive behavior, even violent behavior. So, you know, that's some of the things that, you know, Could be true, because I hear from F to M transsexuals, when they get on testosterone, it makes them way, way, way more aggressive. So anyway, that's off the top. The frequency of XYY could be as high as 1 in every 900 or as low as 1 in every 2,000. Now that we covered all of those were the basic sex chromosome abnormalities that can occur within a human. Do you see how many variations that was that I just covered? Was that was Turner, Klinefelter, XXX, XYY, and so on. Remember, I told you there was other variations of even within those. So that was 6, including the normal 1, 2, 6 that I covered. But there's many, many others. So let's go a little bit deeper, because we could stop there and maybe you learn something from that, but it can go a little bit deeper in regards to sex and gender, how different people can be, and it can be genetically based. So now that we see some of those variations, we kind of learn that sex isn't really that black and white. Male, female, there's different variations within the two. So we're going to go a little bit deeper, and usually people that fall within that gray area between male and female, they're usually called intersex. Now, some words that come to mind is hermaphrodite. Yeah, that's an intersex person. So they do exist. They're not mythological creatures that, you know, that like a unicorn or something. No, they're intersex people, and they actually exist, and they're out in the world. So the first one is AIS, complete androgen insensitivity syndrome. Oh, that was a lot. This syndrome is about your cells within development. When you are a fetus in your mother's womb, how your cells react to certain things while you're in the womb. That's what this particular syndrome has something to do with. So when you are conceived, all right, there is a whole chemical cauldron brewing. There's a bunch of stuff going on, and one of those things is androgens. Okay? Androgens are the things that makes males males. Androgen helps the male, because when you before these androgens come out, all fetuses are female. And then when that Y chromosome, remember I told you that Y chromosome, when that Y chromosome start talking to the mother and start doing its magic in the womb, these androgens come out to help that male fetus form their genitalia. Okay? But when you have CAIS, your cells are insensitive to androgen. So you don't develop a genitalia. It just stays like as if you were female. Now, if you were meant to, like if you have XX, the XX chromosome, and you have this syndrome, it really won't affect you that much, because androgen wasn't going to come into play anyway, because you were just going to be a female. But what this syndrome really affects is male fetuses, because you need this androgen right here. You need this to develop your genitalia. So if you don't develop your genitalia, or it's underdeveloped, and you have this insensitive to androgen, when you come out the womb, you look female, because your balls and your ding-ding didn't drop. The androgen, you were insensitive to the androgen. So your balls and your ding-ding didn't drop, but you still have that Y chromosome in your body. So when you come out the womb, and the doctor sees between your legs that you don't have a pee-pee, and they smack your butt, and you can, they say, it's a girl. But it's not really a girl. It's a boy with, okay? So when this boy grows up, he's going to grow up with everyone around him thinking that he's a girl, but he's really not. Think about how this can play out in someone's life. When they hit puberty and things get a little bit different, when they go to the doctor and find out why the things that they're feeling are not normal. Why they feel like in their brain they're a boy, but in their body they're a girl. Boom. There are different degrees of this. It could be complete MAIS, mild androgen insensitivity syndrome. Y'all know what I mean. Don't judge me. Or it could be partial androgen insensitive syndrome. It could be all of these. And I'm telling you these because think about how this would affect you. How this could be something that could lay the foundation of transsexuality. So automatically, because they're insensitive to some level, partial, mild, or complete insensitive to androgen, when it comes in the womb, they're just going to come out female because they didn't develop the way they were supposed to with that Y chromosome. Although Y is present, so being that Y is present, we talked about that already. The next one. The Swyer syndrome. Swyer. Alright, this is also called the XY gonadal degenesis syndrome. Okay? And this has something to do with the development of the gonads within the womb. Okay? The development of gonads are either testes for males or ovaries for females. Gonads. Now this one gets a little deep, okay? This one talks about a lot of numbers, and when you're researching this, you're going to find a lot of numbers, and the sequence is a little bit different within the chromosomal sequence. Swyer syndrome kind of falls outside of the rules, kinda. Okay? Remember the rule I said in the beginning that if Y is present, then that solidifies your maleness. And if Y is not present, that solidifies your femaleness. But Swyer syndrome, there is a Y present. There is a Y present. But everything else, when it comes to their body, is female. That's kind of difficult. So maybe there's a other gray area. Maybe that rule does not fit. But this is why we're learning and exploring. Because sometimes rules don't really fit people. Okay? So, one of the things that happens with these, they get the gonad, the street gonad removed within surgery. And then they go under HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, where they take female hormones to make them even more feminine than they already are, because their sex chromosome abnormality kind of made them a little masculine. So that's the way doctors have fixed this syndrome, through medication and surgery. You hear that? Fix this syndrome through medication and surgery. Sounds familiar, huh? Okay. Let's go to the next one. These are two X's. Don't judge me, bro. I told you I don't draw. Two X's. Wait, we already did this, right? The two X's mean that it was a female. But wait. We have XX males. What? Diamond, what are you talking about? XX males? Yes, there are XX males. It's also called, it's a syndrome called de la Chapelle syndrome. Where they look like males, they develop like males, but they're XX. This is really, really rare. Really, really rare. I want y'all to get this. How XX males are created is something about the meiosis when the coming from the male to the female, when the sperm go into the egg, it's something about the meiosis about the Y not connecting or fusing well within that fusion. When the sperm come with the egg, something about that does not fuse well. So the X fuses well from the mother, but the Y just doesn't fuse well, but it's there. And so it creates a male child, but XX male child. Gotcha? Symptoms of this particular syndrome are small testes, being sterile. They have various degrees of feminization. They could have gynecomastia, meaning that they grow boobies. Yeah, that's what XX males, what happens with them. That's some of the symptoms that could happen. Now, most of them don't have those feminizing traits. They could, but most of them are really, really regular. XX males are a lot like Klinefelters, a little bit different, but a lot like Klinefelters. Some feminizations, some not. Okay? And remember what I told you. Just like Swyer syndrome, this one, the de la Chapelle syndrome, this one goes against the grain of the rule that I said earlier about X and Y. With the Y being present, it confirms your maleness, and with your Y not being present, it confirms your femaleness. It kind of still goes along with it if you want to connect, because the Y, you know, still was there. Even though the meiosis of it messed up, the Y still was there. But they are XX. They are called XX because, you know, they have the XX chromosome, and the Y just kind of didn't fuse well. Didn't do right. So they makes them XX males.
Let's pay attention to this last sentence. Hence, the other genes on the other chromosomes in the path for determining sex must be responsible for their male physical features. That is really important because that means that the other chromosome, other than the X and the Y, play a part in the development of sex. So that means that your physical, the other physical structures in your body can be determined by the other chromosomes, and that the X and the Y may go in a total different direction as the other chromosomes. That's really important. That's other evidence that can lean towards the validation of transsexuality being natural.
So I just gave you a bunch of information breaking down sex abnormalities within human beings. And I know you would say, why? Why did I have to know this information? The reason why I feel like it's important to know this information is because a lot of people, when transgender people talk about their life and talk about how like they were born this way and they just can't help how they feel, how the alignment between their mind and their body is not really there, so they have to do things to change it and to make it align and make it fit and make it work. They have to do surgeries, they have to do hormones, they have to do these things that a normal person just doesn't have to do and doesn't have to deal with. when you talk to somebody about it, I hear a lot of conversations like, God didn't meant for you to do that. Biologically, you're going against nature and da 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 da. When actually, within nature, these things I have just showed you are things that are out here in the world, scientifically proven. They're syndromes of variations between sex. So the idea that you're either male or female is just inaccurate. It's just inaccurate and does not fit every person. There are chromosomal differences. There are structural differences in male and female. Not just chromosomal. It's so many different things. You can have all the chromosomes of a male, but then you can have the structural connection within your brain and body as a female. It's so many different things that is scientific and biologically based for our existence, from transsexuality to intersexuality. All these things. We have a right to be here. We have a right to want to fix and adjust our mind and our body and whatever we feel we need to do to make it work. It's our life and our choice, and we have nature on our side and we have science on our side to say that this is how we're meant to be. This is how we were born to be. And just like so many people who have defects or abnormalities do things to adjust to make their lives better, we are doing the same thing. So I think if you are ignorant to the fact or refusing to do the research about the facts of the variations of sex, and you're refusing to believe that there are people who are intersex and who are hermaphrodites and who are biologically transgender, then I think that you are doing yourself a disservice, and I think that you're doing on purpose and staying ignorant. For what reason, I don't know. I don't know the reason, but it shouldn't be that way. You should do the research for yourself. Learn that there are variations of sex. Know that it's not just a black and white, male here, female here issue. There are different variations, and we should be treated still with respect as human beings and allowed to live our life to its full potential. And that is my point of this video. Now, I know that it seems like I am talking to non-transgender people, because those are the people who are more likely to not know some of this stuff, because our lives has dictated that we have to go, and we are more likely to research this type of information, because this is issues that hit close to home with us. A cisgender person, a regular gender person whose body and brain and things match like a normal person, they really don't care about these type of issues, so they don't kind of go and research it. You get what I'm saying? But it's funny how they have strong opinions about our life or lifestyle, but yet and still don't go and do the research. That's kind of annoying. But anyway, I know it may seem like I'm talking to them, but there is something that a transgender person can take out of this conversation as well. If you are a trans woman or a trans man, and you are doing everything that you could possibly do to assimilate to your new gender, okay? You're doing everything you can possibly do, and you making the argument that you are just this new gender. You are nothing else. You are just this new gender. This is a defect. If you believe that this is a defect for you, and you just want to go and be this new gender, you are, to me, you are just as wrong as people trying to force you to be your old gender. You are one of the people who fall within that gray area between male and female, and that is okay. Let me say it again. You are one of the people that fall in that gray area. Yes, you have a right to do all the surgeries and the hormones and blah, 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 to get your body and your mind to fit so you can live a comfortable life in the public without being ridiculed and shunned and harassed and discriminated against. You have a right to do that. You have a right to do these things to improve the quality of your life. But I feel you are doing a disservice to people to try to totally assimilate, disservice to your people, your kind of people, to try to totally assimilate to the new gender. I think it's saying that it's not okay to be intersex. It's saying it's not okay to be transgender. It's saying that it's not okay to be in that gray area. You know, and I think that is just as wrong as somebody trying to force you, if you're a trans woman, to force you, say, you're still a male. Or someone trying to force you, if you're FTM, to say, you're still a female. All this kind of stuff. I think we, as a people, are just as wrong to make that kind of declaration that we are just our new gender. No, we are the people who have transitioned and who have gone through the process to accept that we are that gray area. And that is okay. That's what I want the trans people to take from this. I want you to go and research for yourself. I want you to go and learn about these things. Learn about things that I don't know, and bring to the table some of the things. Bring it to the table so I can learn something about it. There will be links in the bottom to any information that I can find about these particular syndromes. They may affect you and you don't even know. So, links are in the bottom. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.